lying down at the table we had before, and now they actually put vertically. But the other thing we have now is the monitors have gone as thin as you have in some old laptops, and actually you can get them quite as thin as a laptop screen, and the computer is kind of changing even the one we put on the desk. And I can use my Palm from 2003 or 2004 and even older than that and pull a keyboard out and just type as fast as I usually do with a full-sized keyboard on a mobile device. I just don't have the same space. And I see more people who do that. But to say the death of the desktop, that's kind of like a red herring type of thing. It's kind of like, well, the desktop is not dead. Well, of course it's not dead. Maybe it's declining,
I agree. I mean, I read it from many people, and I don't agree with it. I mean, the monitors got thinner because technology's improved. We've got LCD now instead of the old-fashioned CRT monitors. But, the point I'm making, I think still for me, nothing can replace sitting at a desk with a keyboard in front of me that's is about 1.25 foot, say, in size. The CPU, I mean, even the CPU I've got now, which is an Acer, it's got a vertical CD base, so I could actually turn the CPU on its side and stick it underneath my monitor and go old school and have a CD tray facing the right way up. And the actual physical sitting at a table, not sitting on the sofa with a laptop on your lap or a netbook or on those iPads, I think will never die. Personally, this is my space. This is where I type, I write letters, I write emails, and it's my space away from everything else. If I wanted to sit in front of the television, I wouldn't be doing it with a laptop on my lap. I'd be watching television. When I'm doing things on the computer, I move away and separate myself from a distraction. So it was just a comment I was throwing in there with because I see it on so many blogs and so many sites that the death of the desktop, and it's all going portable and mobile and phone this, phone that, and I don't think that's going to happen at all. And I certainly see the desktops, the CPU, the monitor, and the traditional keyboard and mouse staying here for a very long time because I can't see anything that could replace them. Certainly for me anyway, and there's plenty of users like me. So it's just something I was going to throw in there. Just a side topic. Moving on, just another thing of interest, and it's just a very, very brief mention here. My attention was brought to a PowerPoint slide or a PDF. I don't know what it was originally, but it was something on a site called globalnerdy.com, and you'll find a link in the show notes when this is published on OpenBytes and TechBytes. And it's the Air Force web posting response assessment. Now I understand Roy's already seen this or something like this a long time ago, and it's from 2008 to be fair, but I've never actually seen it before. It's a very interesting flowchart, which is for giving you instructions when you come across a blog or a site that's being unfavourable about the Air Force, and it's taken from the point of view that you're a member of the US Air Force, and you follow this flowchart anyway, and you answer the questions, and it gives you an outcome. And it has different titles for different types of sites, like the troll site, the rager site, the misguided site, and the unhappy customer site. And you sort of follow the flowchart along, answer the questions, and it gives you a response consideration and a response suggestion that obviously tells you what to do and how to respond to it. And the reason I found this interesting is because virtually to the letter, it's a lot how a lot of Microsoft advocates tackle blog postings, and I've seen it before. Certainly on my own site, that they'll tackle certain subjects. I know certain keywords and certain subjects which will provoke a response from a Microsoft advocate, and I know what type of response as well. I think we discussed before that certain subjects can make certain posters come out the woodwork, and certain ways of communicating, shall we say, for want of a better word, be brought to the fore on your comments section. So it was just very interesting. So this will be on the show notes. I think, like I say, Roy's seen this one. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add, because I showed you this prior to us recording, Roy, if there's anything else.
What do you know about the company called Visible Technologies?
Sorry, you broke there.
There are actually several companies. One of them is Radiant 6. The other one is called the Visible Technologies, which is an interesting name given what it's actually doing, which is the opposite of visible. I'll tell you the stories about it, and I wasn't prepared to do that. I've written quite a few articles since 2008 about those companies whose patents and business and everything else is to do with tracking blogs, trying to find patterns, and then responding semi-automatically to the blog posts. One of the companies, Radiant 6, is one of the biggest in the area, and they have this thing called that basically pings your blog, so you know they assign a member of staff to your blogs on behalf of one of their customers, one of which is Comcast. So Comcast I know because that's the example I caught as being very systematic with these pings that come to a certain blogs and then the automated response. The other companies has roots in Microsoft, unsurprisingly, and it also works for Microsoft. And what it also does is very similar, and they have this thing called like Pulse something, and it's against all these patents and stuff around it. They have a method of trying to, on behalf of your customer, to track blogs on certain topics like Windows Mobile or Phone 7 or whatever, and they find the pattern, they write an automated response, and then there is a member of staff personalizing the response to the blog post and posting it there. And that's how they work, and they call it like automated, it's a great thing, it's trying to deal with the customers, public relations, blah, blah, blah. But it's really disgraceful because these people think that these people reply to them based on real concern and because they care. And these are professionals. They'll always be very polite, but it's basically people who are very well paid to dismiss criticism or to try to quiet down criticism. I've had cases I caught where they actually remove negative reviews of Microsoft products because they got some alert about a certain product, and yeah. Also, I previously mentioned a developer wasn't happy with the development for Windows Mobile, and one person in Identica, his name is Claudio. He sent me a message because he read the comments on this post, and he was so convinced that all of them were about the same, and all of them were basically damage control because this was a negative piece about a product that has around it around $500 million in advertising, and advertising doesn't mean advertising on TV. It has PR agencies assigned and put to deal with the task of ensuring the product has lots of buzz and people are very excited about it. And I've had a direct experience with people who are kind of assigned products, and they have to try and confront the people or to dismiss the people or to kind of throw crap around the posts to kind of discredit the messenger or discredit the post and all kinds of things like that. They don't present themselves as Microsoft employees or people working on a company which is which has Microsoft as a client. But this is how they work, and it's not just Microsoft, it's Comcast, it's perhaps even Walmart, and you see the names of the customers, and you realize they use the same tactics, the same companies to distance themselves from these acts.
Well, it's funny you should mention about this sort of the generic response where they personalise it up a bit, because I was just desperately clicking on my site, and I'll have to link this in the show notes, but I recently received a comment on one of my articles, and it actually had a rather insulting piece of text towards me, but one of the things I noticed is in one of the sentences in brackets it said insert keyword here, end close brackets, and I'm trying to and obviously I hadn't deleted it, and I'm just trying to find it on my comments now, but what I'll do is I'll link it in my show notes, because I did have a chuckle. It did to me at the time when I saw that. I thought, hang on, this looks like a template somebody's posted in and forgot to delete that bit when they've inserted these insults. I believe it might have been about this very show, going off the top of my head. I didn't pay much attention. But I'll put the link in the show notes anyway. I'll have found it by then. I can't find it now.
That reminds me of, Roy will know about this, but I read something when the OXML thing was going through the ISO. There was a lot of NGOs around the world were sending letters basically opposing the ODF. I suppose for the acronyms, OXML is Microsoft's own licensed encumbered patent encumbered format that they tried to get to be accepted as an open standard, and there's already ODF, which is open document format, which is an open standard, and governments around the world were looking to go to an open standard, Microsoft thought, hang on a minute, we'll get our standard in there listed as an open standard so that they won't have to change. We can still lock them in under false pretenses. But anyway, they were trying to get lots of NGOs